Okay, so this is Ann Olson talking about the week 2 form questions on Beowulf. Um, I wanted to say, how some people are very intimidated by Beowulf because it is so old, because it's written in a different language. It's called Old English, but it's really, Anglo-Saxon, Old Germanic language. But it is the earliest story that we have, and we have it because it got written down. And that was the lucky part. So let me one of the first questions you've got in week 2A is where and when did the events of this poem take place? And so you can see this map. It's in the link for the Norton Anthology. Norton has really good websites for you to just click on and read extra if you need to. But this map here shows southern Scandinavia. There's the North Sea. I don't know if you can see Geats here and the Danes down here in what is now Denmark. And then right in the middle, I wish you could see it better, it says Heorot, and that's the actual setting of the story. Heorot or Hart, I've heard it pronounced. And so it's important for people to know that these events that took place, it's not literally English. Not among the English as we think of them now, but they're Germanic forefathers, pre-English. Two that's supposed to be South Scandinavian tribes, the Danes and the Geats, and I just showed you Hart on the map. It was an oral tradition because the story began before there was the written word. So it was spoken or performed by a singer or a poet. In Mercia, it's a Mercia dialect of the Midlands of England. That's where the story was first told. So like I said, it jumped the ocean there from the actual events, jumped the North Sea over to England, and started getting told probably around the campfires. While the men were drinking beer or mead, they called it kind of a honey beer or wine. They know that it was after 520 AD because the poem refers to the death of Hygelac, and that was Beowulf's lord. When you look at the genealogy, tribes and genealogies in the book, it looks like it's his grandfather as well. Hygelac was Beowulf's grandfather. So those listening around the fire would have been the descendants of Hygelac and the descendants of these Danes and Geats, the lords, the aristocrats of those tribes. It would have been their thanes or their warriors, and the children and grandchildren of the thanes of Hygelac and the other lords. So when you think of it, you've got to think of we tend to think it's so serious, epic poetry, but it might have been more on the level of storytelling entertainment, maybe even video games. When you see what Beowulf did, and he was like this superhero, like he swam oceans, across a whole ocean. He did these superhuman things. And he boasted about it. And we know he probably didn't really, so there is that entertainment value to it, It really is kind of over the top for entertainment. More like a comic hero, like a comic book hero. One of the questions talks about the video under week 2, and do see this if you can, because it's just really neat to hear it and see it being performed. But he mentions a Dane called Scyld or Shield. It looks like Scyld, but it's translated as Shield, and the birth of his son Beowulf. And these were Danes. The actual Beowulf is a Geat. And as I said before, he's under a separate line, but they're related. They have kin relationship. Grandson of Hygeleth. Okay, so one of the next questions is the about the elements of epic poetry. It's often pagan. Okay. Oral tradition, all of these old, think of like Homer, the Iliad and the Odyssey. They began as oral tradition, pre-Christian. This one is in the heroic style of Germanic poetry. Its main element is the warrior society, which revolves around what I just call the 3 W's: words, works, and weapons. That society was made up of strong relationships between the warrior Thane and his lord. And this was based on trust and respect, not on class or slavery or subordination. It was kind of a cool thing because it was based on voluntary equality. It's kind of an advance in civilization where it's not just the strongest, but the strongest man, he's strong because of his relationship with the group, with the men who support him. They choose that. The Thane, or the warrior, takes pride in defending his lord, and the lord takes pride in shielding his thanes. He also gives rewards, gifts, lands. He's referred to as ring giver or helmet or shield, like the very first SCYLD means shield. It was because he was like the shield who protected his men, and they protected him. More about this kinsman relationship of the warrior society. A kind of a cool thing happened, where before it would have just been an eye for an eye justice. You kill my man, I kill you, that kind of a thing. They started some civilization ideas because of this weregild or man price. And that meant that they could pay the family of the injured man or the killed man instead of more bloodshed. It's kind of a neat idea. But this comes to play in Beowulf because Hrothgar, when Beowulf comes there to help him with his monster Grendel, Hrothgar is in anguish and in shame because he is unable to take revenge. Grendel has come in and killed hundreds of his men. It's been going on for a long time. And he can't whip Grendel. And he can't repay their families, the families of the men who were killed by Grendel. So he's in shame. It's a terrible thing. He's losing his kingship. So when Beowulf comes, it's to help Hrothgar, not only against the monster Grendel, but to help his self-respect, like you would help your kinsman. Okay, so we talked about words, works, and weapons. Words are often like boasts, but they're meant to be truth, and they're meant to guarantee the works or the action, or else the speaker's death in trying. Either he's going to do what he says, or he will die trying. Some of the lines here, 286, anyone with gumption and a sharp mind will take the measure of 2 things, what's said and what's done. And they better match up. So words, works, weapons also demonstrate the strength and courage and enhance personal glory. And it's their chance to become immortalized. There is no heaven. Well, there's like Valhalla, and it's this idea that the poetry with the songs, with the poems, and your name being carried forward in the story, in the poem or the song, that you have a chance at being immortal in that story. And later on, when we get to Shakespeare, it's the same idea of immortalizing beauty in the poetry. Okay, I think I'm probably at a point here. Yeah, I think we should go to start reading some of these lines. I've asked questions like, why does Beowulf disarm himself? Why is so much attention paid to the grip? And what's the significance of the trophy at the end? So I'm going to close this off now and just have everybody go and read those parts, and that should help answer the question. Email me or call me if any of this doesn't make any sense or if you've got questions.